Hello Internet, it's Andrew once again reading a couple more chapters from Life of Pi by Jan Martel. We will be reading the next two chapters in the book today as I scouted ahead and saw that chapter 6 is rather short, so we should be able to manage to get through that in time. Alright, so starting right away, chapter 5. My name isn't the end of the story about my name. When your name is Bob, no one asks, how do you spell that? Not so with Piscine Molitaire Patel. Some people thought it was P. sign and that I was a Sikh, and they wondered why I wasn't wearing a turban. In my university days, I visited Montreal once with some friends. It fell to me to order pizzas one night. I couldn't bear to have yet another French speaker guffawing at my name. So when the man on the phone asked, "Can I have your name?" I said, "I am who I am." Half an hour later, 2 pizzas arrived for Ian Houlihan. Fair enough. It is true that those we meet can change us, sometimes so profoundly that we are not the same afterwards, even unto our names. Witness Simon, who is called Peter, Matthew, who is also known as Levi, Nathaniel, who is also Bartholomew, Judas, not Iscariot, who took the name Thaddeus, Simone, who went by Niger, Saul, who became Paul. My Roman soldier stood in the schoolyard one morning when I was 12. I had just arrived. He saw me, and a flash of evil genius lit up in his dull mind. He raised his arm, pointing at me, and shouted, "It's Pissing Patel!" In a second, everyone was laughing. It fell away as we filed into the class. I walked in last, wearing my crown of thorns. The cruelty of children comes as news to no one. The words would waft across the yard to my ears, unprovoked, uncalled for. "Where's pissing? I've got to go." Or, "You're facing the wall. Are you pissing?" Or something of the sort. I would freeze, or the contrary, pursue my activity, pretending not to have heard. The sound would disappear, but the hunt would linger, like the smell of piss long after it's evaporated. Nice to use that metaphor after the subject. Teachers started doing it too. It was the heat. As the day wore on, the geography lesson, which in the morning had been as compact as an oasis, started to stretch out like the Thar Desert. The history lesson, so alive when the day was young, became parched and dusty. The mathematics lesson, so precise at first, became muddled. In the afternoon fatigue, as they wiped their foreheads and the backs of their necks with their handkerchiefs, without meaning to offend or to get a laugh, even teachers forgot the fresh aquatic promise of my name and distorted it to the shameful way. By nearly imperceptible modulations, I could hear the change. It was as if their tongues were chariots driving wild horses. They could manage well enough through the first syllable, the P, but eventually the heat was too much and they lost control of their frothy-mouthed steeds and could no longer rein them in for the climbing to the second syllable, the scene. So it's P-scene? Okay. Instead they plunged plunged hell-bent into sing the next time around. All was lost. My hand would be up to give an answer, and I would be acknowledged with a "yes, pissing." Often the teacher wouldn't realize what he had just called me. He would look at me warily after a moment, wondering why I wasn't coming out with the answer, and sometimes the class, as beaten down by the heat as he wouldn't react either. Not a snicker or a smile, but I always heard the slur. I spent my last year at St. Joseph's School feeling the persecuted prophet Muhammad in Mecca, peace be upon him. But just as he planned his flight in Medina, the Hejira that would mark the beginning of Muslim time, I planned my escape in the beginning of a new time for me. After St. Joseph's, I went to Petit Seminarium, the best private English medium secondary school in Pondicherry. Ravi was already there, and like all younger brothers, I would suffer them following in the footsteps of a popular older sibling. I never had that. I had a younger sibling, and she was very different than me. So I don't know if she ever felt that. We never really talked about it, but I don't know. Does that exist? He was the athlete of his generation at Petit Seminaire, a fearsome bowler and a powerful batter, the captain of the town's best cricket team, our very own Capil division. It just says Dev, I'm assuming that's division, yeah. That I was a swimmer made no waves. It seems to be a law of human nature that those who live by the sea are suspicious of swimmers, just as those who live in the mountains are suspicious of mountain climbers. but following in someone's shadow wasn't my escape. Though I would have taken any name over pissing, even Ravi's brother, I had a better plan than that. I put it to execution on the very first day of school, in the very first class. Around me were other alumni of St. Joseph's. The class started the way all new classes start, with the stating of names. We called them out from our desks in which we happened to be sitting. Great, a bunch of names. Ganapathy Kumar, said Ganapathy Kumar. Vipin Nath, said Vipin Nath. Shamshul Hudha, said Samshul Hudha. Peter Demarge, said Peter Demarge. Each name elicited a tick on a list and a brief mnemonic stare from the teacher. I was terribly nervous. Ajith Gidson, said Ajith Gidson 4 desks away. Sampath Saroja, said Sampath Saroja 3 away. Stanley Kumar, said Stanley Kumar 2 away. Sylvester Naveen, said Sylvester Naveen right in front of me. It was my turn. Time to put down Satan. Medina, here I come. I got it from my desk and hurried to the blackboard. Before the teacher could say a word, I picked up a piece of chalk and said as I wrote, "My name is Pasine Multier Patel, known to all as," I double underlined the first 2 letters of my given name, Pi Patel. For good measure, I added pi equals 3.14. And I have that drawn out how it should be done in the book. And I drew a large circle, which I then sliced in 2 with a diameter to evoke the basic lesson of geometry. There was silence. The teacher was staring at the board. I was holding my breath, and then he said, "Very well, Pi, sit down. Next time you will ask permission before leaving your desk." "Yes, sir." He ticked my name off and looked at the next boy. "Mansoor Ahmad," said Mansoor Ahmad. I was saved. "Guntham Silvajar," said Guntham Villajar. I could breathe. "Arunanaji," said Arunanaji. A new beginning. I repeated the stunt with every teacher. Repetition is important in the training not only of animals, but also of humans. Between one commonly named boy and the next, I rushed forward and emblazoned, sometimes with a terrible screech, the details of my rebirth. It got to be that after a few times the boys sang along with me, a crescendo that climaxed. After a quick intake of air while I underlined the proper note with which a rousing rendition of my new name, it would have been the delight of any choir master. A few boys followed up with a whispered urgent 3.14 as I wrote it as fast as I could, and ended the concert by slicing the circle with such vigor that bits of chalk went flying. When I put my hand up that day, which I did every chance I had, teachers granted me the right to speak with a single syllable that was music to my ears. Students followed suit, even the St. Joseph's Devils. In fact, the name caught on. Truly we are a nation of aspiring engineers. Shortly after, there was a boy named Umprakash, who was calling himself Omega, and another one who was passing himself off as Eulypsian. And for a while there was a Gamma, a Lambda, and a Delta. But I was the first and the most endearing of the Greeks, a petite simiere. Even my brother, the captain of the cricket team, that local god approved. He took me aside the next week. "What's this I hear about, a nickname you have?" he said. I kept silent, because whatever mocking was to come, it was to come. There was no avoiding it. "I didn't realize you liked the color yellow so much." The color yellow? I looked around. No one must hear what he was about to say, especially not one of his lackeys. "Ravi, what do you mean?" I whispered. "It's all right with me, brother. Anything's better than pissing, even lemon pie." That's funny. That's such a good a brother moment between them. I like that. I approve of that. As he sauntered away, he smiled and said, "You look a bit red in the face," and he held his peace. And so, in that Greek letter that looks like a shack with a corrugulated tin roof, in that elusive, irrational number with which scientists try to understand the universe, I found refuge. I mean, yeah, you gotta come up with, especially as someone who was bullied when I was younger, you have to definitely find a way to take security in yourself. When you're being bullied, you have to find a way to understand yourself and believe in yourself and have that that message of this is who I am. I'm not what everybody is saying I am, what everybody thinks I am, what everybody is saying that I have to be. You have to find that version of who you are and believe in that. So I definitely see him, you know, especially, I mean, I'll admit it, even when I started reading the book and started trying to pronounce his name, I was like, I don't want to say pissing. I have to pronounce it not as that because I didn't want to, you know, be offensive. So that makes sense that kids at that age totally would have called him that kind of thing, and that he had to find his own way through that. I like that chapter. That's a good chapter. Chapter 6. He's an excellent cook. His overheated house is always smelling of something delicious. His spice rack looks like an apothecary shop. When he opens his refrigerator or his cupboards, there are many brand names I don't recognize. In fact, I can't even tell what language they're in. We are in India, but he handles Western dishes equally well. He makes me the most zesty yet subtle macaroni and cheese I've ever had, and his vegetarian tacos would be the envy of all Mexico. I noticed something else. His cupboards are jam-packed. Behind every door, on every shelf, stands mountains of neatly stacked cans and packages, a reserve of food to last the siege of Leningrad. Leningrad? I don't know what he's talking about. I mean, clearly he saw someone who's a chef. I don't know who he's talking about there. No tiger yet. I'm waiting on this tiger. I don't know, like there's, how many, I'm 27 pages in. I'm 27 pages in a, 27 pages in a 350 page book. And no tiger. There's a tiger, like tiger's right on the cover. I'm expecting this tiger to show up. And the boy in the boat. Like it's all right there. So I'm assuming they're just probably going to do a couple more chapters of just like giving, again, sides of the character's personality. Like I'm not disliking this part of the book. I'm enjoying this part of the book. You're seeing the character through him telling stories. So I do like what's happening with the book so far. I'm waiting for this tiger. That's the only thing I know about the book, and then I'll be like, haha, I knew it. I don't know why this one dries my throat so much more than My Immortal. I guess it's more analytical, so I'm doing a more serious voice. But yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking it so far. I'm very excited to see where the story is going. More stories about Pi. I guess now I know why it's called Life of Pi. Oh, it's gonna be his whole life, so we're not gonna get to the tiger till like middle, maybe, because it's like, I think it's like he's in his 20s or something. From the film, at least, I'm guessing. He looked like early 20s, late 30s, or early 20s, mid 20s. I wouldn't even say 30s. So yeah, that was the next two chapters of Life of Pi. I hope you're enjoying me reading them so far. I'm enjoying the story, so it's great, and I'll see you all next time.